So those are your elements. There's a manifestation. The main concepts, or the main functions of these different elements. Water is liquid, earth is a mass, fire is energy, air is motion, ether is space. Their nature, accommodating, gaseous, burning, flowing, solid. Their action, basically space or ether is a field, it's just an empty field. Air is for propulsion, fire is for conversion, water is for transportation, and earth is for support. Okay, so their functions in the body, right there. Vata is dry, that's its main element, and propulsion is its main function. Pitta is hot, that's its main quality. Conversion is its main function, and then kapha is cool, and cohesion is its main function. Okay? Alright. So, what's Vata really responsible for? Like, let's get into detail. I said propulsion, movement, but what does it do? What does it move? How does it move? Like, what would Vata be responsible for? You can cheat and look at your notes and tell me.
Nervous system.
The nervous system? Okay. Yeah. Blood flow? Yeah, for sure. Any sort of movement. But let's think mental as well, because we're not just physical, emotional as well. Things like imagination, okay, abstract thought, things that are a little bit more out there, intuition, right? Sensitivity, spontaneity. Okay, so these are all qualities of a person who's a little bit more Vata. Responsible for emotions like exhilaration or fear, anxiety, that sort of thing, insecurity.
What does movement have to do with sensitivity?
Reactiveness, like that reactiveness. Okay. So Vata represents the biological principles of air and space, and the Vata structures and functions usually have the qualities like dry, cold, light, quick, rough, unstable, and subtle. These qualities are important, and we're going to go into them a little bit more on the next page here. Okay, so yeah, Vata is responsible for the pumping action of the heart, the breathing process in the lungs, peristaltic movement of the intestines, and all movements of the bones and muscles. And we've got Pitta. What does Pitta do? It burns, okay? So it digests, it moves. So in the body, that means enzymes, right? That means also, what? Hormones. Okay, anything that's responsible for transformation, for communication via transforming from one thing to another. Okay, so responsible for digestion, absorption, assimilation, heat regulation, sweating, metabolism. Okay, and also metabolism not only of the body, but of thoughts. Any sort of like idea that comes from outside inside, that's a digestion, right? A digestion of a thought, relating your memory to something that you perceive. That's all Pitta. Okay, so mental functions like intelligence, confidence, enterprise, organization. Pitta people are really good at, organizing things, getting people in their place, basically. And they'll put you in your place. And emotions like joy, excitement, courage, anger, jealousy, hatred even. This is all Pitta. Fire and water, so structures and functions of Pitta have qualities like hot, moist, light, fluid, sour smelling, sharp, and penetrating. Now, it's Pitta. I'm saying this because I have a lot of people that I meet who talk about they know Ayurveda and they keep coming to me talking about pita bread. And it's just getting annoying, so I just want to put it out there. It's Pitta. It's actually, you might often see it spelled as Pit and Vat and Kapha. It's because in Sanskrit, there's no, like the A is actually kind of silent. It's like a so it's Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Okay? So just, it's not that important. I mean, you don't even need to say Vata, Pitta, Kapha. You could say air and space, fire, water, and earth and water. I mean, that's fine too. But it's just like, if you're going to say it, you might as well say it, right? Okay, so that's that. And then finally, Kapha. So Kapha structures and functions are responsible for growth, stability, lubrication, storage within the body, right? So Kapha is mainly about solidity, okay? So what would Kapha do in the body? What would be its main functions? Lubrication, okay, for sure. What else? Let's think of actual physical structures. What's a kapha structure?
Strong.
Yeah, strength. Let's think of actual things in the body. Okay, around the bones. Let's think of protection. So we've got the fluids around the joints, the synovial fluids. That would be kapha. It's basically lubricating those joints. You've got the mucus inside the lungs or inside the stomach that help to protect that lining. That's where we're talking about kapha. That earth and water structures. Okay.
Is brain matter kapha?
Yeah, brain matter and cerebral spinal fluid. Okay, that sort of thing. Now, of course, brain matter is a combination of a whole bunch of things. There's pitta in there too, because there's hormones and enzymes happening and that sort of thing as well. But any fluid or anything that is responsible for the transportation of those things is kapha. I know I'm separating them, vata, pitta, and kapha. They're not separate. That's the tricky thing. Each and every cell, and maybe let's talk about that. Let's go into that. Each and every cell has all of them. Okay, so you've got your nucleus here, and you've got your mitochondria, and you've got your cytoplasm, all this stuff. So all of these functions are in here. There you go. Okay, so straightforward. I should be getting you to do this, but let's think of what's kapha. Okay, we've got the cell membrane. That's kapha. Why? Because it's protection, solidity. It's holding it together. Okay, so that's the outside layer. What else is kapha? Well, the cytoplasm. Okay, because that's responsible. That's the fluid transportation. Okay, but the function that regulates the in and out of what comes into the cell and what goes out of the cell, well, the movement is vata. Okay, the movement or the propulsion to move them, like the nervous capacity of these little, the flagella at the end, like the little tails at the end of these little things, that's vata. But the intelligence in the cell itself that decides, okay, well, this is good for me and I want it in, or I don't want it in, that's pitta. Okay, that's the regulation or the metabolism within the cell. So then and then you've got all of the processes that go into the cell. Okay, it swallows up this other thing that it's eating, and then it's got all of the different. I have to polish up my biology too. I don't remember what mitochondria or what that does the digestion, but whatever that does the digestion, that's pitta too. All of the metabolism that happens into the cell as well. That's pitta. The nucleus that governs everything. Well, of course, that's going to have pitta because that's sending the signals. But in order to send the signal from one to another, there needs to be vata for the movement. Okay, so in every single cell of your body, you have all of the doshas at play. All of the elements are there. Does that somewhat make sense to everyone? Okay, so it's really hard to say, I'm vata, you're pitta, this or that. It's all right there. I mean, we have it all. It's just that we have a tendency to emphasize one or another in our the way that we act, or the way that we talk, or the way that our bodies are formed. Okay? All right. So that's basically